everybody can make a living in this business to where they're smart with their money, they're able to retire off of professional wrestling, but there's 1% out of not even, well, with professional wrestling, not even 1%. There's less than 1% that are actually able to not have to do something other than professional wrestling. So, although there's a passion and a love for this business that we all share, there's a lot of people that are going to have to come to terms and realize that you're going to have to do something other than professional wrestling, especially if you have families, little ones, and other things, you know. You're going to have to do something else to provide for your family. I'm a father of 3, and I'm very happy to say that although I love professional wrestling, am I going to have to move on to something else that's going to provide for my family? Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do that. Although I've done a lot of good things with the money that I earned, I'm still going to have to provide and secure my family.
And you're right. You're right. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Koko.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You know.
What?
Go ahead, Koko.
Yeah, you brother, you speaking there. You're exactly right. That's what you know what I preach that to a lot of the wrestlers all the time. I preach it, every time I talk to different wrestlers about what you got to do after WWE, and if you what are you going to do if you don't make it to WWE. I mean, there's life. It's another life without wrestling, and you have to move on. You got to swallow your pride and move on. You got to sometimes, hey, like myself, I don't mind. I have to swallow my pride when I left WWE back in the 90s. I think it was like 95, but it takes you through a whole lot of stuff. But I still had to come back down to reality and got me a 9-to-5 job. And I had to swallow my pride because even a lot of the fans were saying, Koko, why you not wrestling? Why you had 10,000 questions to ask me, but I couldn't, there was no answer for any of them. But the only answer that I had to get me a job. I'm back down to reality. And I'm telling you, we can do a lot of things without drugging it or whatever, being an alcoholic, just being, just sitting by the phone and what is it going?
That doesn't sound too kosher.
Although we are talking on touchy subject, one of the good things about WWE is allowed me to buy a bunch of remote control boats, so I'm out on my way playing with my remote control boats. So I don't think my neighbor's going to like it, but
oh my God!
I'm glad to know that's a remote control boat because it sounded like something else at first.
Try to call me back because I can't hear nothing.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Roundtable, and
wait a minute,
just want to say real quick, it's the Wrestling Roundtable with D'Lo Brown, and we're on Blog Talk Live and False Count Radio, and simulcast on Pro Wrestling High Spots. And with me right now is Rosey out on his lake with his boat, and Buchanan. And
sorry guys, we got a lot of.
We just love
to watch the boat.
If that doesn't create levity for the moment, I don't know what will.
Hey, Rosey.
Sorry, it's St. Patrick's Day, man. We weren't just sitting up playing around.
Oh, tremendous.
I have to tell him I called Rosey earlier, and told him we were going to be on here together, so I cheated a little bit.
No problem. I called you earlier too. So we were talking again, and you know, let's take the sting out of the moment and lighten it up a little bit here, and instead of talking about, you know, what's wrong with the business or you know, the downside of after the business, let's talk about some of the fun things that go on while you're in this business. What keeps drawing us back? What keeps us from going to get that regular 9 to 5? And the root of that is just some of the stories about the boys and some of the stories about the guys who've been around. You know, I had a quick, you know, I was interviewing Ron Simmons earlier, and I told everybody I tell a quick Ron Simmons story. And we were talking about Crush, Brian Adams, and the time we were over in South Africa, and this is in '97, and it's just right after apartheid. We're 3 or 4 years removed from apartheid, and so here we are doing this nation domination gimmick, and it's me, Ron Simmons, Crush, and Savio Vega. And so as we're driving into the arena, you know, normally you have gun check or a coat check, so there was a gun check there. So people actually were carrying firearms. So we're told to go out and cut a promo, and Ron's told to go on and heat it up, you know, get it going, get it hot, and get it bothered. So we stand in the ring, and we're surrounding this soccer stadium by probably 20 or 30,000 people. Ron looks up, and he goes, "Now I'm going to tell you people something." He looks over at Crush, and goes, "Tell him, Crush." And Crush looks at Ron, dumbfounded and bewildered. The only white guy in the ring, in this sea of humanity, wondering why he's there. He gives the greatest promo I've ever heard in my life. He grabs the mic, he looks around, and he goes, "Brother, when I get you in the ring, oh, brother." And he throws the mic back to Ron Simmons and goes hide in the corner. And Ron goes, "Just like that," and drops the mic, and that's his great promo. You know, that's, to me, things like that are the things that keep me drawn back to this business. It's those moments of levity with the boys. And I'll throw it out to my partners here. Anybody want to shoot out some stories, something like that?
You know what? This is on the opposite end of that story on the South African deal. I'm not sure if it was on the same trip, but pretty close to the same time that they went over as a nation of domination, they were just putting together the Truth Commission, which was, you know, supposedly South African. So, you know, none of us guys were South African except for the original manager of the group, the Commandant. And this guy was a real piece of work. I mean, he was South African. He was an actor in South Africa. And make a long story short, he was actually a soldier in the South African army, and he was very much against apartheid. But he really had some stories, and we kind of wondered between the other 3 members of the group sometimes if he, you know, got a little shell shocked or something. So one night we're down in Memphis, Tennessee, driving, and WWE had rented us a minivan for us all to ride in. So the Commandant is sitting shotgun. I think Kurgan was driving, and me and Mantar are sitting in the back. Well, Mantar has one of these these little pin lights, these laser lights, you know, that's a point on something. So he's messing around with it, playing around, you know, shining at people going down the road. You know, probably caused a couple of wrecks. We don't know, but so finally he starts shining on the Commandant, who's trying to nod off sleep. So this guy, you know, I don't think he really thought about it at the time, but this guy was like a special op, you know, dude in the South African army. He opens one eye, sees that red dot on him, freaks out, starts yelling and screaming, "Get down, boys, get down!" Throws himself in the floor. Kurgan flies off the road into the median. I think we're on Interstate 40 or whatever it was, went through Memphis. Flies through the median onto the other side. Me and Halleck are trying to hold on in the back, and this guy's steadily screaming from the time that we finally got the car stopped on the opposite side of the interstate in the grass. He opens the door, throws himself out, and starts crawling through the grass. And it's 5 minutes before we can get him back over to the minivan.